Did you hear the story about the man who got engaged to his girlfriend of 3 years and he was so happy because finally somebody liked him? Like, her family decided to throw them a party so that all of her family could meet him. She had met some of her family, but not everybody. And he walked in that party so proud as he went around introducing himself to everybody. His eye caught this one girl, and he was like, she looks familiar. And he noticed that the girl kept staring at him too. So as they sat down to dinner, all of a sudden a flashback came into his mind, and it was a flash of him sleeping with the girl. And he asked his fiance, who is that? And he said, oh, that's my cousin Grace. And he was like, oh my gosh. As he sat there thinking about, oh my gosh, I done slept with my fiance's cousin. All of a sudden, the little child runs up to Grace and says, mommy, mommy. He looks at the child. The child looks just like him. And he was like, how old is that child? And then his fiance was like, oh, about 6 years old. And he was like, oh my gosh. He immediately got up, said he felt sick, and went into the bathroom. As he was in the bathroom looking in the mirror, he was like, please, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to mess this up. I don't know what to do. He got himself together and then walked back out. And then the girl, Grace, was still staring at him at the side of her eye, but she was also with a man. And that man was her husband. And he was like, oh my gosh, did this lady just sleep with me all this time ago? I barely remember. He told his fiance that he was really not feeling well. He needed to go home. And she was like, okay, no problem, go ahead. And she finished up the party with her family. And later she joined him at home and asked him, what's wrong? What do you need? And he was like, I don't need anything. And he was trying to figure out what to do. So he went online and he posted his problem and said, I think I slept with my fiance's cousin. I don't know what to do because there's a child and the child looks just like me. It might be my child. So everybody was giving him advice, mostly men, saying, go to the cousin and ask her if that's your child. She should know, and give him all this advice. And he wasn't feeling unsure about any of it until one woman came on there and she said, right now you are blameless. You don't know anything. You didn't do anything wrong. You are new to your relationship. You've been faithful in your relationship. Go to your girlfriend right now, your fiance, and tell her exactly what happened. Be honest, be truthful, and be a team with her. Be on her side. Be with her to solve the problem. Ask for her help to solve the problem. If you go try to solve the problem on your own in any way, she's going to think you're trying to deceive her. So he took that advice. He went to his fiance, he sat her down and he said, I'm sorry, but when we were at the party the other night, your cousin Grace, she looked familiar, and I think I slept with her a while back. And she was looking at him like, oh my gosh. Now, he had told her already that he had been a hoe, that he was sleeping around. So she already knew, so she wasn't that upset about it. And then he said, but I think the child could be mine. And she was like, oh my gosh. And he was crying. He said, you mad at me? You gonna leave me? And she was like, no, because you came to me. Now we gonna figure this out together. So the next day she contacts Grace by text, say, hey, do you have a minute to talk? And Grace is like, no, I'm busy. And Grace started avoiding them. So eventually Grace reaches back out and Grace said, okay, I'm ready to talk. I know what's going on right now, but I have to tell you what happened. Grace explains to her that 6 years ago, she and her husband had been trying to have a baby and they couldn't. And they was about to get a divorce. They separated. During that separation, she ended up meeting this random guy, sleeping with him and getting pregnant. And before she realized she was pregnant, her and her husband had reconciled and said they were going to get back together. She told her husband that the baby wasn't his, but he was just like, don't worry about it. We're already married. Let's just raise this baby. Because she didn't think she would ever see that man again. So now they're raising the baby. The baby's 6 years old. And now the situation come to a head and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. And Grace said, I'm sorry, but my husband does not want to see that man ever again. So when it comes to our family events, we can't ever be there while you guys are there. And his fiance is like, what about the child? Don't you want the child to know who their father is? And Grace is like, no, the child can never know. We don't ever want y'all to have anything to do with our child. This is our child. Please just leave us alone. And when she told the guy was sad. He was just feeling hurt. And his fiance said, I know what to do. And she went in and she applied for a remote position at work. And he did the exact same because they had been planning to move out of the country. But with this situation, they figured the sooner the better. So they never have to face it again.